Third one. We're cutting the videos. Alright, Paul, the reason why I didn't expose you for who you were. You know what? I don't know what to say. This is my ex. Jed Robertson. You know what? That's a real picture. It's a real picture of us. It's a real picture of me. It's a real picture of him when we were together. A long time ago, you guys. You know what? Not what I signed up for. Not what I signed up for when I went on to Sangha. All I meant to do was tell, like, a bunch of teens and early 20-year-olds about my first love. Okay? I don't think anyone could get hurt. You know what? I'm not going to hurt Paul. And maybe it isn't fair. I know, like, people are like, but he's a troll, partisan, like, he hurts people. Like, some weird sadomasochism, like, thread. You know what, and that was what he joked about. Like, what, do you guys not get understand jokes? Like, he said something about, like, sadism, on his Paul Adlin Twitter. It's like, you know what, maybe that's just his outlet. Like, you obviously don't see him, like, beating up people for sexual gratification. Like, that's what I didn't understand. It's like, but you don't see him doing that. Like, him saying it, like, maybe it's a joke. You ever think about that? Like, do you not have sense of humors? Like, like, haha, go to the darkest place, like, of your soul, like sadomasochism, whatever. Like, he's obviously not beating up people. Like, there's not, like, photos of him, like, whipping me, or, like, whipping women, and, like, taking, like, a sexual gratification from it. Like, you know, and this whole, like, pornographic thread. It's like, you know what, I have a sense of humor. I was, like, being, like, I was being sarcastic, but, like, but, you know, like, but you don't have proof. And that's what like, people actually thought, Paul, that we were doing, like, hardcore, like, porn. And, like, hardcore, like, S&M porn. Because they refused to ask me who you were. Like, and they obviously didn't have any proof because we don't do pornography. Like, they didn't have any proof. They didn't have pictures of us or, like, videos of us, like, in front of their faces, like, doing it. And yet, like, all of a sudden I get this backlash of, like, but they do S&M together? Hey, Paul and Amanda do, like, S&M, like, videotapes? When I didn't even know who you were. Like, this no-name person that, like, this Paul Adlin that doesn't apparently, like, exist, is doing, like sex tapes with Amanda, with me, even though they didn't have any proof. They didn't have any proof that we did anything. Like, they were just, like, imagining in their heads. Like, they do porn together? Like, they do hardcore, like, sex porn? Like, but you know you have no proof. Like, you don't have a video in front of you. Like, do you think you have a video in front of you with me and him in it together? Because he's a creative director in New York, and you didn't care to ask me. Like, and I didn't care to tell you. Because I thought it was pretty obvious he was joking around. Alright? I thought it was pretty obvious we were both joking. Where, like, You guys, and this, get off saying that. Like, when you don't know. You know? And I kept the charade up, knowing that you were saying this about me. You know what? I don't care about you guys. Okay? I'm very serious about this too. I, Amanda Cohen, I don't care about you guys. You know what? I was in my own little land. This is my ex. This is Paul. This is my ex, Jed Robertson. This is Paul. Everyone. You know what? Regardless of like what you guys think in your heads, this brought me nothing but happiness. Okay? I know that sounds like facetious or like cynical, but you know what? I spent 3 years with this guy. I've lived with him. I thought he was going to be the guy that I died with and ended up with. You know what? It was good for me. Not good for you. I have no problems with Paul because you know what? He gave me something I needed. And Paul can take this to his grave. You know what, Paul? You gave me something I really needed and I didn't think I'd get on Zanga. I just came to like find some contributors and some writers for my magazine. And whether, regardless if he did it on purpose or intentional or not, or he saw my picture with Jed and me and decided to like play even a prank on me because he noticed him and Jed looked alike. Like, I'm sorry, these are not the two same people. I know he looks a lot like Jed. Okay? They even have the same eye color. You know what? I personally needed this. I spent over 3 years with this man, Jed. We broke up badly. You know what? I'm sorry, you guys. Like, I'm sorry you didn't ask me. I'm sorry you didn't ask me what's going on. But that was a true story. Alright. Some guy broke into our apartment where we lived together when I was with Jed. Okay? And he tried to kill us. That was not a made-up fictional story. You know what? And sometimes you do have to reevaluate life. And like, that broke us up. And for a long time I did regret breaking up with Jed. Okay? Because I did. I loved this man Jed for a long time. You know what? I'm coming on to Zanga just to look for contributors and writers for my feminist politics magazine. You know what? Like, Paul might have not known this, and Paul might have even like been pulling a prank on me or like whatever, like pretending it, like thought I was someone else. He could have even thought I was a porn star. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, I did not expose him or like do anything to him. You know what? Okay, well, you can think whatever you want of me. Like, you can hate me. You can think I'm a porn star for all I care. Like, whatever he did, or his just person. And I'm telling you this in all genuine and honesty. Like, coming from the editor-in-chief, Amanda. It was nice. It was a nice dream. Okay? I spent a long time thinking this guy Judd, my ex. Was the person I was supposed to be with. Okay? Like, I don't know. He knows this, too. I love him a lot. Okay? No facetiousness, no sarcasm. Like, at one point in my life, I loved this man, Judd. Like, a lot. Okay? And I needed kind of a wake-up call. I needed to see his face in Paul to realize, like, I wanted that again, and I wanted to have that again. Okay? So that's really what it comes down to in my personal life, which I don't really want to go into. Like, there you go, Paul. That's why I kept you around, and like, that's why I kept you around, and I let you do your thing, even though I knew who you were. Like, sometimes I want to go back into memory lane. I let you just, like, whatever, do your thing and play your game. Because I also wanted to remember something. Alright? Like, here's my humanist side. I'm not emotionless. Alright? I was already, like, cynical enough coming out of my relationship with Judd. Like, it was nice. Thank you, Paul. It was nice pretending with you that you were my boyfriend. Because I really loved my ex-boyfriend. Alright? And I don't mean to get sappy. And it wasn't intentional. I posted pictures of my ex and talked about my ex relationship, my old relationship with Judd. And it was really, like, initially just it was to tell 20-year-olds my relationship from when I was their age. I'll be 34 in a month. And I'm single. Alright? Single as in not married. You know, and I came back home to kind of refigure myself and evaluate myself and figure out my next move. And in regards to, like, my actual real boyfriend, figure out if I wanted to have something serious, like super serious with him, and move to New York and really have something with him, or what I wanted. Alright? You know what? Paul might have not done this intentionally. He might have hated me, for all I know. He might have thought I was, like, god-awful, whatever. Like, I think he thought I was Natalie for a while. I think he thought, like, my body was Natalie's. And that I was, like a nude model. It doesn't even matter. Alright? I don't do nudity for a living. I get naked with my boyfriend. In my relationship. But you know what? Like, it doesn't even matter. To me, it was worth something. Alright? Worth something more than a magazine. You know what? Like, I guess we all go through this, but I was so cold at the point where I met Paul on Zanga in his solid state theory blog that I don't know, like, maybe, like, not even a romantic part. I don't know. Like, I don't know how to describe it. Like I needed that. Like, he reminded me of Judd and what we had. And he reminded me. As far as fate and destiny goes, you know, where I wrote in my blog, like, he's in his world, I'm in mine. He does his thing. I don't care about your personal life, Paul. Like, that's yours. I only had to say who you were now because people were getting so bent out of shape. Alright? They were actually calling you a porn star. They didn't know who you were. They saw Paul Adlin didn't have a name or like a name, any apparent like contact information or phone number. They didn't know where you were. You don't put like a demographic, like a geographic area with you. They were literally calling you a porn star. They thought you were like a no-name idiot that was like doing porn. Like, I had to verify that to clear a lot of people. A lot of people's names, not just you. Alright? They had no proof. They obviously didn't have us. Like, they didn't have videos of us or pictures of us, because you know we don't do porn. Paul Sutton does not do porn. Alright? He is the creative director of the digital department at the law firm. God. At the advertising firm JWT. Alright, guys. I humored him. You know what, and you can blame me for this. I humored Paul Sutton when he re-added me in different blogs. He was prisoner of love. He was prisoner of ex-love. He was I'm not ugly, I just need love. He was Paul Partisan. He was Solid-State Theory. Like, he was all those blogs, and I kept re-adding him knowing it was him. Because I wanted him there. Okay? I wanted Paul Sutton there. Because I needed to be reminded that, I don't know, I actually had a real relationship at one point. I actually, like, was really in love with a guy that I wanted to be with. Like, I actually once upon a time, like, met a guy at a bar in Gasoline Alley in Detroit that I actually loved and, like, thought I'd spend the rest of my life with and lived with, shared the bills with. Like, it might not have been Paul, but at one point in time I wanted that. Alright, if you can understand that. At one point in time, I actually wanted to be with one guy that I wanted to be with, that I would have died for. And I needed that there. Like, I just wanted Paul there. Okay? I wanted to look at his pretty face that looked up like my ex-boyfriend. It was maybe him that I wanted, but I wanted to remember. Like, I wanted him almost as like a memo. Think of him as a yellow sticky note. I wanted him as a memo to remind me that, like, I did have that and I could have that, and that I could remember. You know, and it seems like totally stupid to some people. And, you know, even a little stupid to me. I did. Like, at one point in time, I actually lived with a guy and shared my life with a guy and didn't want anyone else. You know what? And, like, it brought back memories of the night that stranger broke into our place, and what I was willing to do for him, and what I was really willing to sacrifice. And haha, but like, at one point in my life, there was actually a guy that I was with, in a relationship with, that I was willing to give my life for, and I wanted to remember that. I wanted a reminder. Especially when my real boyfriend, not Paul, not Judd now, Judd's my ex, and I were trying to figure out where we were going. Alright? We met in New York, me and my boyfriend now. And I thought I was going to move to New York, and we had always kind of been like attracted to each other, but mild flirting, and we never went further than acquaintances, and like I saw him in New York, whatever. We had coffee and we chit-chatted online. And then when I thought I was moving to New York, we got together and we decided to try to have something, because he thought, my boyfriend, he thought we were going to actually be in the same city, and we thought we could try to evolve something more serious when we lived in the same city. And then I moved to Greenville instead. And you know what? Like I wanted Paul. I wanted Paul here on Zanga with me, okay? Because I needed that reminder, and I used him. I used you, Paul. I used you. I used you for your face, alright? I used you for your body and your face to remind me that I had something once that was a real relationship and like real love. And you had to I humored you and put up with you and didn't say who you were on Zanga. Okay? And you hate me if you want. I let you think that I didn't know who you were. I let you think I didn't know you were Paul Sutton, and added you back on over and over again onto my blog, because I personally, selfish as I am, I personally needed to have you there to remind me. Okay? And I didn't see the harm, since I didn't think you knew, or I didn't think you thought I knew. I didn't think you thought I knew who you were, that I didn't see the harm in it, alright? I didn't see the harm in keeping on the pretense, considering I didn't think that you were aware that I knew you were Paul Sutton. And I wasn't telling anyone you were Paul Sutton. But I wanted that personal reminder. Okay? And I'm sorry I didn't tell everyone in public on my blog for my magazine, man, that Paul Sutton and Judd Robertson were not the same person. But you didn't ask me. You didn't even know if I knew who Paul was. Alright? You went around thinking, calling him Judd Robertson, even when he went by his own name. Alright? You didn't ask me who Judd was. You didn't ask me who Paul was. You know what? I don't feel bad at all for putting Paul on and letting you think he was Judd Robertson. Alright? No one told you he was Judd. He came out and said he was Paul. That was his blogs. That makes me angry. It's not my problem. Okay? It's my problem that Paul came online and looks like my ex, Judd, and told you he was Paul. That you didn't want to ask me who he was, or you didn't want to verify the truth. I kept him on because he reminded me of my actual love. I kept him and humored him and let him think that, like, I didn't know who he was, because I didn't see it as important because he wasn't telling me who he was. I thought he didn't want me to know who he was, and he wanted that separation of professional and personal life. So I didn't feel the need to tell him that I knew who he was, because I thought it would embarrass him too. Where he's obviously trying to, like, separate his personal and professional life. You know, and I didn't see the harm, because it didn't seem like he was, like, interested in, like, dating me or being with me either. But to you guys that are, like, doing this, like, you know me, you can call me. For you to sit around thinking Jed and Paul are the same people, when Paul's just doing his own thing in his blogs, in his, like, social, like, personal blogs, and even calling himself Paul. Like, he didn't call himself Jed. Like, he called himself Paul because that's who he is. Like, he was completely honest. Like, he wasn't running around calling himself Jed. Like, for you not to ask me what was going on, that's not Paul's fault, that's not my fault, it's not Jed's fault, that's your fault. And I'm going to end this here, because that makes me, like, very angry. Alright? There was no reason for you to think he was Jed. There's no reason for you to think anything. Next time, come to me and ask me. You know what? Like, I'm sorry I exist. Alright? At this point, all I wanted was to, like, to get back my life. Like, I'm sorry I'm so selfish that I called Paul Paul. I called Jed my ex. Like, you know what? Like, and I will still defend Paul regardless of if he's, like, bad-mouthing me, and, like, he thinks I'm, like, loads of things. Like, he can think whatever he wants of me. Like, I'm sure he thought I was Natalie. I'm sure he thinks I'm a slick blonde lady. Like, I don't care. Like, I know, like, I humored him and, like, kind of played him a little bit. Like, I knew I didn't, like, everyone, I did not directly tell Paul I knew who he was. I did not tell Paul I knew he was Paul Sutton, the creative director from JWT. Okay? I didn't actually, like, address it to him and confront him and say, I know who you are. Alright, and that's my own fault. I just didn't see it as important if he didn't want me personally to know, and he didn't come to me and say, hey, I'm Paul Sutton, I'm not Paul Adlon, Paul Hardison. Alright, so I didn't feel the need to tell him that I knew who he was. Like, because I thought he was just on Zynga to socialize. Like, if, you know what, if he, like, makes a connection with me and he wants to tell me he's Paul Sutton, or anyone else, for that matter. Like, if he, like, meets someone and, like, gets along with them well enough and he wants to, like, tell them he's Paul Sutton, like, that's his own business. Like, I didn't feel the need to, like, tell people. But for me, like, I needed that. I needed to, in my own personal life. And that's why I didn't say it in mine either, because that's this blog that I'm posting my videos on. This is the last of the personal ones. I'm sorry. Like, I needed it in my personal private life for my own well-being. To just remember something. Okay. That I had a long time ago. That I spent, like, many, many years with. I'd almost even like forgotten. I haven't lived with a guy since Judd. I haven't actually lived with a guy, like in a relationship. I haven't been in a relationship where I've lived with someone since Judd. Alright? I needed to remember that I could do it. Like, or I needed to remember that at one point I did have that. You know what? I used Paul. I used Paul's face. I looked at Paul's face even before they sent me pictures. And yes, Paul, they sent me this picture along with your Paul Atwood, Paul Partisan Twitter pics. Alright, they sent me this one. They sent me the one from when you were in Crispin. You were employed in Crispin. Like, and they sent me all of this. You know what? Like, I looked at it and I laughed and like, because they were like, "Oh, this is your boyfriend." Like, I was like, you know what? Like, it brought back like a lot of like good feelings and like a lot of good memories, like the joy when like Judd and I broke up so badly. You know, give me back like a sense of humor. I'm like, really? You think Paul's my boyfriend? And I saw the humor in it finally, and I was like, I was like, really, you guys? And all I could do was laugh, and like it made me like it brought back my sense of humor. All right. And I just kept on playing on it, like really, if you think like Paul's Judd, like anything for dating, like go for it, like, you know, I don't know, like, it still makes me laugh, like, it made me happy. Paul makes me happy, you guys. Even though he might not directly make me happy, it made me happy. Like, it made me laugh. That, you know what, like I needed this whole thing to happen on Zanga. Maybe, you know, things happen for a reason. Things happen for a reason. You know what? It's funny. He even has the same eye color as my ex. He even has the same eye color as Judd. And actually, like, they have completely different noses. And they don't actually look, like, exactly alike or anything. But, like, I can tell the difference. Judd, in person, does look different from Paul, okay? But I can see why people thought they were, like, they do look a good amount alike. But it brought me joy, alright, and that's what I needed personally, and I don't really care about you other people. Like, I needed that. It was getting so serious and so, like, like, kind of, like, demented and so serious that, like, when they sent me, Paul, like, pictures of you, and they're like, what are you, like, why are you trying to hide that you're dating Paul? Well, I think we can see that you're dating Paul. Like, but, I don't know, like, it brought me joy. It made me laugh for, like, a really long time. You know, like, maybe in the alternate universe, Paul. Maybe in the alternate world, the alternate dimension, we are dating, you know? And that's what I have to say on that. And, like, I hope Paul listens to this. Alright? Sorry to use you, Paul. I finally came out with, like, who you were to clear your name. But, like, for me, like, this man right here, Judd Robertson, saved my life a long time ago. And he was the one I was in a relationship with for 3 years. And you know what? Like, when it comes down to it, like, I almost saw him die. And I needed to remember, like, the lighter side of it and remember, actually, like, the good parts of our relationship. Okay? You know, it got so serious and so, like, bad with us. And I got so jaded and cynical that I didn't see I didn't even want to be with someone else. I didn't even want to be with someone else after him. I needed this break, and maybe even you intervening, Paul. Like, are you pretending to be Judd, or whatever was going on? Like, he wasn't pretending to be Judd. Even you, like, coming in and maybe even seeing the picture of me and Judd, and be like, looks like me, haha, and doing it as a joke. It doesn't even matter if he was doing it as a joke, you guys. It doesn't even matter if Paul was coming in and, like, added me on his blog because he thought it was, like, funny that he looked like my ex. Alright? It was good for me, and now I can actually, I can be with someone now. Alright? And it took me a long time. And that's what I have to say, and maybe I'll say something else later on in the video, but right now I've gotta clean up everything and, like, get what the other stuff I have to get done. Okay? This is Paul Sutton. He's the director of digital production in New York City for JWT. This is my ex, Jed Robertson, alright, who I spent 3 years with and I lived with. Who I had a real relationship with. We were monogamous, alright? And, you know, weird down the road, here I was writing to, like, 20-year-olds about my first love, like, super jaded. Just, you know, trying to not jade 20-year-olds from love. You know what? Like, I wasn't going to, like, I wasn't going to scare a bunch of 20-year-olds into thinking that love was impossible, just because it didn't work out with my relationship. You know, it was a pleasant surprise, okay? It's a pleasant surprise to meet Paul Sutton on Zynga, okay? Just to, like, kick me in my butt and remind me that actually I had something in my 20s. To remind me of being 22, I guess. Like, it sounds really corny and sappy, but, like it's true. Here I was writing to a bunch of 20-year-olds, like, totally jaded and cynical. Not wanting to jade and, like, not wanting to jade them.